So one of the things that I was thinking of when people say about being a medium, and I remember a few years ago I was in San Diego, California, and I was at my friend Carol's house, and I really was unsure how to bring this up, but Carol's mother had passed away about a year ago, and Carol's mother was sitting next to her and was very persistent about this, and I finally said, Carol, your mother is sitting next to you, but she's holding a blanket. She keeps holding the blanket like this out, and but she keeps telling me that the blanket is related to your brother. And I said, what's that about? And Carol looks at me and goes, like, oh my God, my brother Dennis wanted our mom to have a blanket in the coffin because he was afraid that she was going to be cold. That she was going to be cold in the coffin, and their mother was just wanting him to know that she had her blanket. And I was in Palm Springs, California, at a Holistic Living Expo, and I had a guy who was there, and he wanted a reading with me, and we sat down, and I said, who's Charles? I get this guy named Charles who's very close to you, who's a man a little bit older than you, and he goes, oh my God, Charles is my brother. And I said, well, Charles is very persistent and insistent about a brother that's in New York that's alive. And of course the guy is going, oh God, and he goes into this whole thing that he and his brother in New York, his brother, his name was David, were in this big legal argument, and that Charles was really after him to get this resolved and to let it go, and that it wasn't worth fighting over, and so and then when I remember another story about a guy in Florida, in Bonita Springs, Florida, and he came into one of the shops that I was doing a reading at, and again it was his father, and I said, there's an older man who I think is your father or grandfather, and he's holding those those glass bottles, large glass bottles that have the ships in them, the boats in them. I was like, oh my God, that's what my father made. My father made those. And just another one would be a couple years ago at the Wake Up Now conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I had a gentleman who I was doing a reading for. I was doing a sound healing session for, and this thing came through, and I said, I think your father's next to you, and he keeps showing me this wooden airplane. Would you like to talk to me about what this wooden airplane's about? And all of a sudden the guy goes in tears, and he's like, oh my God, when I was like 6 years old, I made this wooden airplane for my father, and I put it on a chair, and I forgot that I put it on the chair, and I sat on it, and I crushed it, and I was unable to give it to my father, and I was so upset over this that I just I've never been able to let it go until now. And his father was just saying that he got the wooden airplane, and I've said this many times over and over again, that there is no way that I could have ever made any of that up. Impossible. So there's something really valid and real about being a medium, and it's always to bring closure to something, to bring a healing to something, to restore peace to someone, to let them know that they got it, that they know what you wanted to give them, that they understand that you love them, or whatever it may be. But it's always about bringing closure to something, always about returning to wholeness and healing. So I just again, there's just no way that I could have made any of those stories up, because it's very real and it's very valid. All right, thank you so much. Namaste.